Yeah. How do you want me to do? What's the best way for me to do that for you? Okay, so you're in Discord, so give me a sec. I will give you the go live. Cancel that for a sec. I'll give you the sharing link. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I just in Discord. I just private messaged you with the live link. Okay. Yeah. Right click it. Yep. Copy text should be fine. And mhm. Yeah. Well. Yep. Okay. Let's see if this share screen. Okay.
Ta-da! Okay, I'm going to do the same thing, the exact same thing in the...
All right. This should work. It's being a little strange, but that's okay.
My cat might make an appearance.
Oh, right. Well, you know, I will not make the inevitable pussy joke and how it helps viewership. Yes, yes. Number one seller on DM's Guild at this moment. I can make that claim because it's just this moment. By the time you read this, it's no longer this moment. Right. Okay. So you've got the tech problems licked, and here we are. Both of us are beautiful. Evidently, to write Realms books, you have to have a beard.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess that's a requirement then.
Wayne, is that why you're hiding?
Yeah, I don't grow a beard and I don't write.
Sure you do.
If I write, I'm going to write, who's going to do all the rest of the stuff?
You have a very good point. It's like you've thought this all through. Damn, that's dangerous.
And guess what? Samit calls me exactly the way you're not supposed to call me. All right.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyways.
Of course. Well, it's a strange coded message from your bookie.
Yep.
This needs to close. This needs to close. This needs to close.
So, Ed, how many books do you have?
400,000.
400,000. Wow.
And counting. Adding.
They said you buy about 100 a month or so.
Yeah,
Or you acquire.
yeah, I buy 100
Yeah.
a month. I get given stuff too, yeah, because I'm in the industry. But most of the stuff I get given these days is PDFs
Hmm.
because big name publishers can't be bothered mailing out galleys anymore. They just send you a PDF. And if they're really, really crooked, I mean, excuse me, if they're like Wizards of the Coast, they sign you up for NetGalley and put a copy of your own book on NetGalley for you to get your author's copy.
Oops.
Yep.
How cheap is that?
Well, Star Trek. Yeah, the second edition, the RPG.
Yeah,
They didn't send me a physical copy either. They sent me a PDF.
yeah, that's no good.
So,
That's for editing. That's not for you to have.
mhm.
I mean, you should be given a physical copy so you can wave it around and take a photograph of yourself with it.
Yep. I think I did buy my own physical copy. Yep.
Yep. See, those bastards got you to buy your own book instead of
Mhm.
providing it for you.
Yep.
That leads to mind the old joke about the boyfriend and girlfriend, and the
Mhm.
boyfriend's an avid fisherman, and he has a special boat with special seats and the latest fishing gear and rigs and everything, and the girlfriend doesn't fish, so they go to this lake, and he gets the boat out and ties it to the dock, and he says, "Oh damn, I forgot the beer. I'll be back in 10 minutes. I'm just going to run to the beer store here and get some cold beer." She says, "Fine, honey," and she sits down on the boat, puts her feet up, starts reading. Long comes the game warden, and he goes, "Ma'am, you do know there's no fishing in the harbor?" And she goes, "Yeah, I'm not fishing. I'm reading." She holds up the book, and he goes, "Ma'am, you have all the equipment here. I'm going to have to book you, write you a citation." And she says, "Oh, okay. I'm going to have to report you for sexual harassment, sexual assault." And he goes, "I haven't even touched you." And she looks at him and says, "But you have all the equipment."
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Well, we are starting, and that was live.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
All right. Well, we got some people channeling in. Thanks everybody for joining us tonight. I hope you can hear me. We have some we had some technical difficulties. We call it snow up here in Canada, and we got snowed in quite a bit, quite a lot. So instead of seeing the office, you can sort of see where everything was supposed to be set up. And instead of doing that, we are online today. So my name is Wayne. I am the producer of the new book, Souls for the Taking. And we have here with us Ed. Okay, hi, Ed. And also Rhys. Yeah, we're going to have a camera switch back and forth. This is a very last minute trying to figure out this setup. So apologize if you guys can't hear. Just let us know. Ed and Rhys, I don't believe, are actually in the chat channel. So we're going to just take some questions and I will try to narrate through those for them.
Sure.
Yeah.
You'll be emceeing for us, Wayne.
Yeah, I basically will be. But for now, let's just start off. And okay, perfect. Just always need to make sure that we can hear. So,
Are you sitting comfortably? Then we'll begin.
So why don't we do some introductions? I know it seems a little bit silly sometimes, but everybody knows who Rhys is, but maybe not everybody knows who Ed is. So, so why don't we start off a little bit? Why don't you gentlemen introduce yourselves instead of having me write up your introductions?
He's Rhys Yorke, and I'm not.
Thanks, Ed.
No problem. Rhys, tell them what you do creatively when you're not writing this book.
So I've worked in the entertainment industry for a while. I started in comics, Deadpool, for Udon Entertainment and all that. I started working in games. I've worked in Norway on Age of Conan and The Secret World. I worked at Ubisoft for a while. I started in film and TV on The Expanse. I've worked on Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, Blue's Clues, and You. Yeah, variety of things. So generally, I work in comics, animation, video games, and film and television.
So just so everybody knows, whenever I'm trying to explain who Rhys is, I have to do all that spiel, but in like 3 seconds. So I have a really hard time going, who is Rhys? I need a better word than Renaissance man. But yes. And yeah, that's Rhys.
Renaissance superhero.
Yeah, I think that's the Bard. I like that. Mel Corson says we should be calling Rhys the Bard.
Great class.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll order the codpiece and tights tomorrow.
Perfect. And Ed, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm a mild-mannered Canadian library guy. And 60 years ago, 61 years ago, I created something called the Forgotten Realms as a young kid, and it is now the official setting for the Dungeons and Dragons game. And I write comics. I script comics. I do voice acting. I do voiceovers in computer games. I'm narrative designer in computer games. I act, sometimes for pay, and I write games and books. So far, 540 books, something like that. I've lost count. I don't have enough fingers. That's during all those years. But here I am, the creator of the Forgotten Realms.
So when you say Forgotten Realms, your voice has to get deeper, right? So
Forgotten Realms. I come from the depths of time.
So
Mr. Baggins.
So we're here basically talking about Souls for the Taking, and you guys can sort of see this in the corner here. And yes, it is it is print on demand. Yeah, Ed has that is the sort of preview copy and
the teaser,
the teaser
really
copy.
thin teaser.
Yeah, that we had. Mel says, "Hope you have a cameo in some sort in the upcoming Netflix show." Which has not started filming yet. So even if he does, I don't think you're allowed to say.
No, I couldn't say. And I couldn't talk about the pole I've been practicing with or anything.
Always with the pole with you, Ed.
Well, yeah, you need to know the popularity, so you have to take a poll.
Let's see. See, Ed is actually more distracting on camera than he is in real life.
He's pretty distracting in real life too.
He is.
I bet you say that to all the girls. No.
When we were walking around together at Gamehole Con, I tell this story a lot. Is that it was basically like walking around with Miss America. Everybody sees Ed. It's all like. Everybody else disappears, just Ed, and it's really really interesting to see. So,
actually, that is actually one of my favorite stories with Ed.
Yes,
yeah. Gamehole Con a couple of years back. I was walking with Bill Benham from Wizards, and Ed was walking with Andrew. We had just kind of crossed paths. Bill was coming out of a panel, and Ed. Oh no, you guys were coming out of a panel, and. I was walking with Bill after lunch to a game, and we start chatting in the middle of the hallway. And if you've never been to Gamehole Con, it's a very open convention. Everybody walks around. There's one main hallway. Everybody passes by. So as we're chatting, literally standing, 6 feet as if it was COVID away from me and Ed, this gentleman with 2 sons, probably like 8 and 9 years old. 8 or 9 years old, standing there, and the guy turns to his sons and goes, boys, do you know who this is? That's Ed Greenwood, the creator of the Forgotten Realms. This guy would not approach. Yeah, you can see David's like, oh yeah, it's true. He saw Ed at game will kind of refuse to approach him. So this guy's literally like 2 arm lengths away from me, and I turn and go, "Would you like to meet Ed?" And he turns to me like scared. He's like, "No, no, no, no. He's much too busy. He's too important." I said, "Okay, no problem." So I turn over back at Ed and go, "Hey, Ed, have you met?" And literally shoved Ed in this guy's face, and he stood there like he stood there as if he was like, deer caught in headlights. Literally, it just shocked. And Bill and I, like, "Hey, Bill, we got to go," and walked off. So Ed goes, "Hi, I'm Ed Greenwood. How's it going?" Very friendly. You guys know how Ed is. And this guy's like stammering. And I get like 5 steps. And Bill and I are laughing. Like I'm on the floor, almost laughing my ass off. Because it's just like, and this is a great con. Everybody's very friendly. You stop people in the halls, take photos, and do the same thing with that. Like same with Rhys is like we stop and like every like 20 feet, 30 feet, we're saying hi to people and whatnot. And that's going, "Hey, how's it going?" And people are like, "Can I take a picture?" And whatnot. Like it's really it's everything. But this guy it was hilarious. And it was just really nice to see that. And I always tell this story because it's funny because to me and to all of you guys, everybody out there who's watching, it's to us, it's Ed. It's not Ed Greenwood, creator of the Wrong Realms. It's Ed.
Just a guy.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, though, when I first met Ed, I felt the same way because it's like this is the guy who wrote all the novels, and created the world, which I loved and played hours and hours and hours and hours and hours in. So, I mean, it did take a while for me to get over that initial. I think I still do that occasionally. It just sort of gaze up at Ed fondly for like as he talks.
Oh, well. Hi.
So
I had no idea you were paying attention to what I was saying. I'm going to have to choose my words more carefully.
You never choose your words more carefully. I mean, this is also the person that my kids call Uncle Ed, and they're like, "Uncle Ed's coming into. Can we come to your office?" I'm like, "No, it's gonna be like 10 o'clock. We have to do stuff." Like, "No, I want to. Like, it's during school time." I'll tell the story what my daughter said to him later on. But
let's warm up before that. That was fun.
That was hilarious. All right, so we are here talking about the book. Apparently, and we'll take some questions later on. But sort of to start, Ed and Rhys, when we started writing this book and sort of started scripting it out, what was the main focus? Like let me back up one step. So this book, if you guys haven't read through or looked at it quite yet, it's 150 pages, give or take. And about 110 is a story. It's an adventure from 3 new heroes in the realms. And then the rest of it is the background to that story, information about them, information about some of the villains, some of the people that they've met, more information about Scornabelt, which we'll talk about in a sec, a tavern, and there's a little bit there's some spells, there's some creatures or like villains. There's a little thing written by Volo in the back as well. So there's a lot of
in everywhere.
Yeah, there's a little fun little things, but the whole point was, if you can sort of see on the camera in the corner, this is not a regular size game book. It's a paperback novel in a sense. It is not a novel, just so everybody's clear. We are not allowed to have novels on the DM's Guild, so it is a novella. Technically, it is the correct length for a novella. And part of it was a little bit before this, obviously, when we were starting the writing process, and we'll talk about that process in a sec. I had asked Ed, basically, what was the last novel you wrote? And I believe that was Death Masks, and was published 2015, 2016?
2016.
2016. Yeah. So that was the last time that Ed had basically written fiction in the realms, other than like lore and little snippets. And I asked, basically straight out, I asked him, do you want to write fiction? You're like, yeah, for sure. So we figured out a little bit of a way around it. And Rhys Rhys have been wanting to work with Ed for a while now. We've been talking for a good 6 months, probably before that, because we're talking about another project, the necromancy book before that. Yeah, and and basically that's where we got to. So sitting down, we've decided we're going to write this book. We're going to add some lore. I guess I don't think Alex is on tonight, but get some lore. What was it that really? How did you guys come up with sort of the general storyline?
Okay. Let me begin this one with a
Sure.
stat. We wanted to move fast. We wanted to write this thing quickly. Because the process of actually turning it into a book is not so quick. So the sooner we begin, the sooner we're in. So in my mind, it was like, okay, where should we go in the realms? And who should our protagonists be? And it's a lot more fun if they're 3 new people and if they're nobodies, because then they don't have existing lore that we have to match to. They can do what we need them to do in the story. And they are new people to add to a dungeon master's toolbox, if you will, as opposed to checking in the back facts of everything about an established character. And then there was okay, we got to write this in a heck of a hurry. How do we do it? We collaborate. Why don't I just start writing gobs of outlines and say, Ed does this, Rhys does this, Ed does this, Rhys does this, and then we'll just write at top speed. So that's how we started. And then, of course, like everybody writing to an outline, we wrote too long.
Yep. How many words over were we?
I think we were a good 6,000 words over total. A little bit more than 6,000. So it was chop entire chapters time, not chop a line here and there. But I started by just going through with a meat axe because, again, and for those of you out there who want to write fiction, you will be more long-winded the younger you are. And the more you work with other media, in this case comics and computer games and film, the more you will realize that getting to the point, particularly now in the wake of Sesame Street and attention spans, as opposed to the novels of our youth, in which it was quite all right to say, "No, O reader, that I am now going to do a side tangent that goes on for 16 pages. And being as you're reading this by candlelight after your exhausting farm day for 5 minutes, it won't matter because this book is going to take months for you to get through. So I will just tell you all about haying in the upper valley," or whatever it is. Okay, now we have now moved to get to the point. Like, I want a payoff here because, again, I've had a long day and I got 5 minutes. Let's get to something. So it's actually good to keep your prose lean, unless you have a character who is particularly loquacious. And please do not have too many of them. One of them as comic relief is fine. A novel full of them, oh my God, I want to strangle some of these characters.
So a novel full of volos would be interesting.
We should write that someday. Yeah. But you see how effortlessly we went sideways in a tangent and didn't answer Wayne's initial question.
I even forgot the initial question. No, it's how did we begin, right? Basically.
That was it.
Yeah. Yeah, we back and forth, emails, outline. And yeah, so once we had a plan, it was just write. And, not, we had to refrain from, self-editing as much as possible, at least the initial pass through. Also with a novella, you really do have to be economical with your lore and your description as well too, and get to the action, get to the point. So
It's different if you are actually trying to make a book that is fat.
mhm.
And those of you who have purchased doorstop fantasy novels, which cost the earth and are fat, may or may not be aware that sometimes the publisher wants it to be fat so that they can charge more money for it.
Okay, this comes to mind.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's great though.
Yeah. But that wasn't the conditions under which we were writing this.
No.
We needed to get it done quickly. We wanted to see how the collaboration worked. And we knew we had to provide lore support for what was in the story because we couldn't just write unsupported on its own fiction. And then for me, at least, it was a chance. I want another chance to get into the realms and write tales and get dirty doing it. And then Rhys's job is to hose me down and keep me clean. Ha! Hello.
Hey, Alex.
Hello.
I just
Man, I have to mute the stream. Sorry.
I asked the person who just joined, and you can see that's Alex, and Alex was the mechanics developer. He's one of my designers, and he worked with Ed and Rhys to sort of bring out some of the mechanical aspects and also do some of the rule stuff.
And he's magic. Notice how he can put himself in front of a castle at sunrise or sunset. He's moved himself to somewhere in the world where there's a castle at that time of day or night.
It was either this or the Italian villa. I wasn't sure. I just decided, based on crowd, I decided on this one.
Alex is a lot less shaggy than the last time I saw him on camera, so it's a summer.
I happened to get my hair cut today. It's a strange happenstance.
Yeah, so I guess part of this was I know they've kind of mentioned it, but a lot of this book was written in about a month and a half, about six or 7 weeks. And of course, it was a little longer. We had a lot of people going through, just because we were trying to get it out shortly after. We were trying to get it out before the Forgotten Realms books launched for Wizards, and unfortunately, there's another project that we were all working on. And so we were sort of juggling a couple of projects at the same time, and we couldn't get this out. Like, we didn't want to get it out around Christmas time. At the beginning of December, and we weren't able to do that. And then, as soon as the holidays hit, then shipping for our proofs becomes very, very, very slow. Unfortunately, it's just one of those. Oh yeah, we're not going to do anything right now to it. So we only got the books I get the books last week? No, this week. I got the books. We received the books over the weekend, and it's been a lot of fun actually, trying to come up with something a little bit different. If you are familiar with some of the things that Visionary's done before, we've done Eberron books. We have several Eberron books, but this was really a chance for us to work with Ed. So
I'm just a guy, but I'm very glad that Alex was on the project, because in the early days of D&D, you just designed whatever magic item or monster or spell you wanted, and you just threw it into the book. What was this playtesting thing? That's what you had buyers for. And game balance? What's that? So we didn't have any of that. So it was really nice to have it this time. Somebody who's designing, who can see the whole tapestry of 5e. And, well, maybe we shouldn't have something that gives you plus 17 to hit every time.
So let's just to go a little bit deeper into the story. We're gonna have some spoilers.
Oh
Yeah, we're gonna have some spoilers. So if you had a chance, you probably might have downloaded the first 2 chapters, and if you've gone onto the DM's Guild site, we have the first 2 chapters up. I'll probably put I'll probably extend a little to the 3rd chapter, and we're gonna give you guys a little bit of information. I'm just David. David is if you're in the chat right now, you can see David. He was the layout and one of the graphic designers on the book as well. So we just have to one more thing to put up onto the site, onto the product page. But yeah, yes, thank you. There is we'll have a little bit of spoiler, but in terms of I'll give you guys a little bit of spoiler. So Ed and Rhys worked on the outline. Ed did a lot of the sort of a little bit of a breakdown, and they really went back and forth, literally back and forth. And you guys would probably have a hard time telling who wrote which chapter, which is a very nice thing because the two of them really managed to develop sort of this back and forth on the writing. I will say nothing against Rhys. Ed writes in incredibly fast speed, like a little bit crazy sometimes. It's like he's been doing this his entire life since he was like 5 years old, you know. But
I'm addicted to food. And if you want to eat, you have to produce fast because they don't pay writers well. So you learn to write fast or die. That's really the simple way of putting it. The other thing is, if you've never written a book before and you try, it's a big project. It's easy to bog down. But the farther you can get faster, the least likely you are to have one of 3 things happen. Get discouraged, have life happen, like an accident or you get sick or something like that, or have a day job or something else get in the way. If you've brought the thing almost to the finish line and then you get interrupted, you can see the finish line. You can see the daylight, you can get over it. If you just started halfway through chapter 1, it's a great temptation to let it sit there and get back to it when you can. And when you can could mean when you retire from your day job 30 years later. I mean, Tolkien left the Fellowship at the tomb in Moria for 16 years because his academic life, his day job, got in the way. It happens. So the further you can get, the faster, the better. Do not do this if you are a mechanic fixing cars.
Or a surgeon.
Or a surgeon, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's and I was doing my best, one, to try and keep up with Ed and his speed, as well as not to get into Ed's way either, and to make it as easy as possible for us to maintain that singular voice throughout that. My style tends to be a little bit more flowery than Ed's, so it was great actually because he had some great advice to pull that back as well.
You don't bring me flowers anymore.
Yeah. But yeah, I was coming at it from doing like comics and video games and film and TV and all that sort of thing, and certainly like writing stories, long form short stories, novels, novellas is definitely a different approach, different mindset to it. So it was a great experience for sure, and I hope we have the opportunity to do more.
Yeah. Now there is another thing we should say. One of the things you cannot do when writing at this frantic clip, you can't do intricate intrigue and plots. For instance, if we were trying to write a locked room murder mystery set in the realms, it would take a lot longer because we'd have to stop and plan everything. The more fast action and witty repartee are in the foreground, the faster you can go. This explains a lot of the TV shows you've seen recently. It does, because yeah,
It's true. Yeah, the amount of time that those writing teams, well, the size of the writing teams have been greatly reduced, and the amount of time they have to actually write the scripts have been significantly reduced as well too. So this is, yeah, definitely definitely a product of speed for sure.
So, Alex, when you're designing the rules stuff, what goes fast for you and what goes
Mhm.
more slowly? What things do you do you tackle the fast stuff first to get it done and out of the way, or do you leave it because it's going to be easy and you want to do this meaty thing?
So it was really useful when either you or Rhys let me know the intent behind whatever the character was or the creature was, and saying, hey, this is what I want. And it was very simple to say, okay, this is about where it sits. So it's super easy to find, like, hey, we want it kind of at this level. Go get those kind of numbers that I need for that level. That's probably the easiest part. And then there's tweaking any kind of other mechanics to fit the narrative you want to express is like the more fun part to me.
Nice.
Numbers, math, all the stuff I hated in school.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy a particular character, spell, or
The Bone Colossus was fun to bring to life. I don't know if I'm spoiling something.
Nope.
No, okay. Sorry if I did. But yes, that was a lot of fun because you had a very clear vision for what you wanted it to do. And it was great to bring that to life.
So, anyone listening on to this, Bone Colossus has nothing to do with porn. Just saying.
Despite Ed's every attempt.
Yes.
Though I also found the spell very interesting as well to like try to figure out, because it kind of did a bunch of things all at once compared to what was already there. And that was just really interesting to look at too.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to actually using some of the game rules and seeing, like, at a gaming table, and seeing what else you can do with them other than in the story.
Yeah,
I have no desire to take on a Bone Colossus anytime soon.
why not? You created it. Don't you want to see your child in life?
Rhys, Bone
probably-
Colossus is easy. You get 16 hungry dogs, and they all run in and grab a bone. There you go.
Or they just become part of the Bone Colossus. One
Oh,
of those
darn
two things.
crap.
No, that was certainly, yeah, that was a fun creature for sure. And I would like to have it in our campaign eventually, but I would like to level up a little bit more.
I also like enjoyed when you had like certain ideas on how the character should act, like based on the descriptions. Bringing those to life mechanically is also super interesting. So, like, you know, problems to solve. It's fun.
So just so you guys know, excuse me, at least the four of us here that are on the stream, we all live relatively close to each other. So it's been actually a very, and I've known Alex for 27, 20, almost 28 years.
How could that be when he's only 19? Come on.
So
do the math.
And Ed, I think I've known you for what, 10 or 11 years, I think. I don't even remember. It's been really actually very helpful. I know that I wish that David was actually in the same time zone, then we would be able to match everything up. So if you're in the chat, you can see David and Luke. So David's the layout and Luke is the editor. And this is the second project we work with David, and then with Luke I've worked with for a few years as well now. So this team actually has we've kind of worked together for quite a bit. Ed and Rhys actually the new ones here, to be honest. Yeah, I haven't worked with you guys. This is the first project I've worked officially with Ed, even though we started on a different project together, and Rhys as well. We worked on a different project, and this is the one, and whatnot. We'll talk a little bit about some of the stuff that's coming up as well. Mel says it sounds like a necromancer's dream. I will sort of
should mention necromancers.
We are working on a necromancy book. Rhys has been writing that for about a year.
2 years.
2 years, yeah, about 2 years, and had a good structure, and he kind of brought it to us. We started working on it and joined the team. We did sort of reshuffle a little bit just because it needs some filling out. But that is coming. That is on our schedule to do in the second half of the year. It's something that we will be working on. So look for that. We'll try to keep you guys. We'll try to keep a little more public about what we're doing and what our schedules are like, just so that you guys can see and follow along. I never want to bury that much information. Sometimes we do have to keep some stuff hidden and whatnot. So.
Well, we don't want the paparazzi following us.
Just you, Ed. Just you. Yeah.
I feel like that's something you enjoy, Ed.
Well, I don't look good getting out of a limo anymore. My long legs are, they're varicose veins and wrinkled and mottled and everything. It's just not the same.
I'm understanding that better every year.
Shoveling the snow today, even with the snowblower, was tough. Like, it was backbreakingly tough. Just trying to push a snowblower up and down that my driveway, which is relatively steep.
Mm-hmm.
It was not fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had 3 feet of snow in my driveway, but a Dodge Caravan, can go up it if you're driving fast enough when you start.
Yeah, Mel, my kids went outside, played, about cleared off about like 1/4 panel of my car with a broom, and then said, "No, we give up." I just started playing in the snow. We've got photos of them like almost up to their armpits in the snow. It was they were having fun. They were enjoying themselves. Then the parents had to come out and start digging themselves out into the snow. So just one of those things.
And publishing books is like digging yourself out from a snowstorm.
Yeah, and we got a bunch of things to publish this year too. Oh boy. What else? I guess for Ed and Rhys, what was your favorite part of this whole process? Not specifically like what was the favorite part of your writing, not necessarily part of the story, but what was the part that you enjoyed most about this process? Because for Rhys, I think it was I think almost for both of you, it kind of was like the first time that you got to I guess work really, really closely with each other as well.
Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first, darling?
Well, I know what I'm going to say because I've thought about this a lot. I would say the opportunity to work with Ed was probably the most enjoyable. Oftentimes or one would expect if you're working with a very experienced author of Ed's caliber that, there comes some baggage with that. But Ed was very gracious, very helpful, and he was always available for questions. And it was just, he made it such a great experience. And I've always wanted to write in the realms, and having the opportunity to write with Ed was probably, it was a dream come true for sure for me.
And for me, it was the realms. If I'm writing it, can never surprise me. And so because we were sort of alternating bits we were writing, they may not have always broken at clear chapter lines, but I'd write a bit, and then there was a bit in the outline that Rhys was writing, and then there was a bit in the outline that I was writing. Bing, ding, bing, 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 like a ping pong match or a tennis match or a badminton match, back and forth. And it was to get a new chapter that I hadn't written, and the realms was coming alive. so I could actually sit back and enjoy it as a reader instead of going, oh yeah, I have to write this bit. No. I was sitting down and reading the story. And when you know the person who's written it and you can hear their voice and see their face in your mind's eye as you read the stuff, it's doubly fun because they're not a mystery man or a mystery person. They're it's like, oh yeah, I can get this. And then it is also sort of like a competitive tennis match. Okay, you lobbed that one high. I'm gonna knock it back over there in my bit, So it was fun, and that, I mean, to me, was the most fun because characters who are brand new, so I'm not invested in them because they're not a character who's been established in Realms lore for 20 years, and we have to get this right, and we have to match all these other things that other people have written. No, these are new characters, but they're coming alive in front of our eyes, and that was very gratifying and fun. So yeah, to me, it was getting new chapters from Rhys, sitting back to read them like a little kid, and there they were unfolding in the realms. That was a delight. Thank you for the delight, Rhys. That was great.
I think one of the funniest things was knowing that we had a chapter, we had a word count limit. Every time I got something from them, the first thing I would do is I would go, "What's the word count?" 20 chapters, supposed to be about 2,000 words. Not one chapter, not a single chapter was 2,000 words or less from either of them. Rhys wrote 2 chapters in a row at one point and then sent it to Ed. I was like, and each of those chapters was like 2,300 words. And you think that 200 words or 100 words is not too much over? Trust me, when you're running to a deadline or trying to a word count, it is a lot over.
Yeah. Cutting prose is harder, more painful, and takes longer than writing it. For those of you who have never written a book and you're sitting there going, just staring at that blank screen or that blank page in the typewriter or the blank page I'm going to write on in longhand is daunting. Yeah. Chopping stuff out that you've written is even worse. It's sort of like the doctor tells you, well, your tonsils have to come out. Here's the knife. There's the mirror. There's going to be a little bit of hesitation on your part, isn't there? And even worse, if the doctor then says, no, we have to cut out something else. What do you want to lose?
Yeah.
So yeah, underwrite rather than overwrite. Word of advice, if you're writing your first thing yourself, it's an awful lot easier to add a little bit at the end or somewhere in the middle or amplify a scene than it is to chop out entire chapters, wave goodbye to them, and throw them into the wake of the ship.
We
and
we
hope
had
the ship.
yeah, we did have to cut out 3 and a bit chapters basically of tech. Like we had to skim it down a little bit. We got a question from Luke from the editor. How did you decide what to cut?
At top speed, I had to look at it from the other direction.
Yeah.
And the other direction is what absolutely has to be here to make the narrative be coherent to the reader, number one. Number two, to leave us at the end point we wanted to be at, or do we have to be at that end point?
Yeah.
And then, okay, those are the bare bones that have to be there. What else can I put in that is fun? And near the end point, you will encounter a character who's a bit of a buffoon. He's a long-winded buffoon. How much of him do we have space for? Literally. But that's the way I did it. What absolutely has to be there, and then what should be there to balance the narrative, the tale, and bring us to the end point we wanted. Okay, now I have this much space left. How can I get those things in? And literally, I was taking scenes or lines of dialogue that we wanted to keep, putting them in, and then going back through that chapter and cutting other stuff out in order to have room for that. Which,
think-
by the way, is how a lot of movies get trimmed down in Hollywood, because you can't just say, "Oh, we'd like Napoleon to be 8 hours," because people's bums won't last that long in theater seats. You've got to get them up and out, and the next bunch of people will watch the movie. Same thing. We need to take stuff out. We can't leave it all in. So as much as we love stuff, as much as we'd like to show you our ever-growing collection of Forgotten Realms Bone Mole, we can't put them all in this novel. We'll have to save some for later, which means some characters have to survive.
I think I think when we're looking at it, and we were at like 45,000 words or something like that. I'm trying to remember exactly. We had to start trimming, and then we had to cut off basically the end. And Ed actually had to rewrite the ending to the story, because we had to cut back into it and be like, okay, we have to shift everything back a little bit, and then end the book at a point where we can logically end and take out sort of a major part that'll probably end up in the next book, that kind of thing. So that was one of those, and we got to do this quickly. Sort of
Cunning
ideas.
plan. Now we have to have a next book.
Yeah. Which also means that one of the pieces of art basically got cut from the book as well, because that character was more significant at the end, if I remember correctly. I have a particular thing as a producer. I only skim the book, otherwise I'm reading it over and over again and I start missing stuff. So there's actually a piece of art for a character and a whole write-up for that character.
There's actually two characters.
Oh, right. There's two characters. Do we have art for the other character? No, we didn't have art for the other character, though.
No,
we
two
didn't have
characters were cut, but yeah.
Yeah. So just because the character was not significant enough by the time that the cuts had been made to put them into the book. We will probably release. Oh yeah, that's right. We probably release one of them. He was a write up in a stat block, but no art. The other one is more significant later on, so we'll see what we do with it. But yeah, it's a very interesting process, because a lot of our backgrounds is not in fiction writing, right? I produced books and stuff like that, and even Luke, our editors. Luke is one of the best editors that I know. Not even kidding. I know he's in the channel, so he can hear me. But to swap over to to editing fiction was very very difficult, and it's not something we're used to, right? And I will say also, David is one of the best. No, it's absolutely true. I'm gonna put Luke on the stand for a sec here. I had another editor when I worked in different books before. Excellent editor. She currently does stuff for Cosmere, Dragonsteel. She's done stuff for Wizards. Absolutely excellent editor. I will say that Luke would catch her mistakes, and actually has caught her mistakes before. So when she was not longer able to work with us, it was a natural progression to go to Luke and go, "Hey, I want you to edit for us." And he's like, "Oh, I don't know if I can edit really well." I'm like, "No, he knows how to edit." Like, absolutely great, absolutely wonderful editor, really good at what he does. And he was like, "Oh, I'm just going to copy edit," and he'd be catching stuff, be like, "Yeah, okay." Nobody else saw that. Like, literally, people who read this like 4 or 5 times have never said that. So yeah.
I have to say, overall, like, the team that we had on this book, been very, very lucky how talented and professional everybody was already. So.
Yeah, it was great to work with, and I'm going to put David on the stand for a sec. David really swooped in at the last minute. Met David at GameholeCon, really quickly, and said, okay, well, we've seen some of his work. He was highly recommended by Andrew, and basically out of date, Ilhan said, okay, David, um, I need you to work on this project. I actually had two projects he needed to work on. First one will be announced next week. You'll see what it is. I'm not allowed to say. But David really swooped in, and yeah, no, I'll go back to that in a sec.
You're
but,
such a tease, Wayne.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, David really swooped in and was able to throw everything together on two projects back to back, like pretty large, like two really large projects, including this one, just back to back, and just was able to just put everything together, take what we had, and just run with it. Like Rhys said, very, very lucky to have this team. It's
Agreed. Yeah.
it was. If you, I would say, if you're going to go and publish something to the people in the audience, you will not be able to do everything yourself. Very honestly, you will not be able to do everything yourself, and that is where you do sort of have to get a team together. Get the best people that you can, people you can work with too. Sometimes it's difficult to get that sort of synergy, and also, Luke is in the middle of Canada. David's down southish a little bit, so we're not all in the same place. So just being able to communicate is really, really, really important. And being able to do that, and being able to sort of throw that all together in that short time span, get everything together. I have promised the team that I will not do that to them again. It just happened that we had two projects lined up back to back, and it just happened that one of them got delayed, so it pushed it right up against this for Soul's Taking, right? So it was a little bit, and Dave's saying, it was he just happened to be on vacation, so he was able to like throw in about like 2 or almost 3 times the amount of work, so that we can get it done.
In other words, he didn't get a vacation. That's what you're telling us.
Yeah, he didn't get a vacation. Yeah, David, you're coming up here. We can make the rest of the team Canadian. It'll be great. A couple of people who aren't here. Samit is not here tonight. I think he had something to do with his parents tonight. Samit was the art director. Samit's also my business partner here at Visionary. Was able to source out all the art. We use a lot of the artists that we use a lot of the artists that we've used on previous books, on my Eberron books, and they were all just an absolute dream to work with. They've always been really accommodating. They know we have really, really short timelines. I hate doing that to them every single time, but it's like, hey guys, we have a deadline. Oh, by the way, you have a week to do a piece of art. I think the only thing that took longer was the cover, just because we had a couple changes. We had to go back and forth. And it's also a wraparound cover, so there's a couple things that extra had to be done. What else? DM's Guild was good to work with. We could try to keep them informed. For those people who were asking, a couple people were asking and saying, "Oh, how come you guys got to write a novel?" It's not a novel. It is technically a novella, and we kind of had to ask and just make sure what we were allowed to do and what we can slip by. So it was partly one of those things that we said maybe we should just ask for forgiveness instead of permission. But we did sort of let them know that what we were doing, and showed them a little bit what we were doing.
We also wanted to meet the requirements of having a significant amount of game material as well too. So, and I think it worked well. I mean, I remember, was it the comics that D&D published way back? They were able to get around, they weren't called comics because they had some adventure material, like write-ups of the characters and all that in that as well too. So we sort of were following tradition.
Mel asks, once this series is complete, are there any plans to put them in a different format or hardcover? Yes. So what, we're going to see how popular this is. We'll see if what we've done is sustainable. That's always a concern when we put out a new book onto DM's Guild. We don't know. But what I'd love to do is to do an omnibus and basically put all the information, all the material together. There will be some repeated information, also some stuff that is progressive. So it's like you learn a little bit about this character, and you're going to get something else later on. We'll try to figure that out. Like it'll take a little bit of rewriting. But yes, to have it all as one big omnibus, hardcover would be good. We did not do hardcover just because I wanted to keep the price down for everybody. So you know, it's print on demand, so it's a little more expensive. So trying to keep it under $30 for 150-page book. That was the whole point. Yeah. So I do want to open it up to questions. I know we kind of rambled and talked a little bit. I hope you guys have enjoyed yourselves and got a little information. So excuse me. What I'll do is sort of see if you guys have any questions. I will give you a little bit of hint if you don't have the book yet. There's actually a relatively large section on Scornabel for 1501. So there's definitely a lot of new information available to people who are just interested in the Realms lore. And there's a lot about the characters. They are descendants of famous Realms characters. Yeah, spoilers. You have to read the book and see. Like we do spoil that, not spoil it, but we do let that be known in the books. But obviously, there's a little bit more information there. So there's a little bit of write up on each of those characters. I'm going to open the book because I haven't. There are stat blocks, so I will actually. What I'll do is give me a sec. I will try to show
That's
you.
good. Good question there in the chat about Larloch.
Oh, yeah.
What are our plans for Larloch, Ed?
Is Larloch really evil?
Should we
or
reveal
just
them?
understood? Would he be a patron for warlocks? Oh, interesting.
Do any of you recall how Larloch left the realms?
I do, but
not voluntarily.
Yes, and a certain other person forced him out of the realms and went along with him, and almost destroyed him. As in, he was an archlich. And she almost utterly destroyed him. And he is trying to get back into the realms. And what we see is a book in front of you that has a subtitle of The Return of Larloch, Book 1. So
obviously he's coming back at some point.
Or trying to, because we're telling the story of his attempt to get back into the realms. And we're doing it with a vehicle of 3 brand new characters. I hesitate to think that Larloch's going to be inside all 3 of them. Because I don't think we want to tell that sort of book. But do we? And one of the things we like to do is to pay attention to our readers and find out what they want. So it isn't just me being coy by saying, what are our plans? Well, we're not going to tell you. NDA, ha, 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 ha. It's like, well, there are at least 3 ways we could go with this. We'd like to see which way you guys are hungriest for. I will say no more at this time.
With what you're hinting at, Ed, does that mean the Colossus bone will be in the next book?
That's a very good question. Or would somebody, the big L, let's call him, want a more agile, versatile undead form to assume? He can animate things, and he's spoiler for the novel, he's not in the form that he has hitherto been in when we meet him in the novel. What form, or will he hide his very presence amongst us by shifting forms or animating various forms many times, in which case the Bone Colossus is more likely to be a distraction than Larloch himself. But all of these things are hidden in the mists of time, because I may want to write a Bridgerton-style romance in which Larloch is one of the yielding ladies with a parasol, and Velminster has the top hat and is trying to woo her.
There you go.
See, all of these things. You see, when you're writing in the realms, all of these possibilities are on the table, and half the fun of it is sitting down and talking them over with your co-writer and
Yeah.
watching his face blanch in horror.
I'm telling you, that spin-off romantasy series, it's going to be a keeper.
Yeah. Yeah. But by the way, folks, would you like to read romances set in Waterdeep? Or Baldur's Gate?
Yep.
Or, it's a possibility.
Yeah. We don't act like we haven't talked about it, because literally talked about that on Monday.
Yeah. But I mean, the
Over
realms
lunch.
is a big place.
Yeah.
And there are lots of genres. We
Mhm.
could do Lovecraftian horror. And this Vecna guy seems to be everywhere. And after all, I've already done a Realms Lore video on the toenail of Vecna. So I mean, we could, you never know. Maybe Larloch wants a team up, a supervillain group. Wouldn't that be cool? I can see the spandex and the capes now. You see, we can go in all of these directions. Or would you like to see more of a Wild West? What is that? Aliens versus cowboys or something? You see, the moment you start thrashing around the ideas, all sorts of ideas, good and bad, bounce around on the table, sort of like those balls they're doing when they're doing bingo or in the bubble machine. And then our job is to weed them down to stuff that we can tell a good tale about in 2 or 3 days.
Mel has a question. Would Larloch make for a good, or be able to be a patron for warlocks?
At a certain point in Larloch's career, the answer would be yes. The point in his career that we know about is in the past, when he was fully in the realms. If he achieves his return to the realms in the future, yes, indeed, he would make a dandy patron for warlocks, because Larloch has two problems. He's big and powerful and attracts a lot of attention from, say, Asmodeus or Asmodeus, you prefer, or Zastam or Vecna or other large, powerful competitors. So he will want to have secret agents with plausible deniability between him and them. So if they were warlocks and he was merely their patron, and he could say, I have no idea why he did that. I had nothing to do with it. I was sitting over here when he blew up your phylactery. Seriously. So that would be, yes, a great role for warlock characters, which is a very long-winded way of saying, yes, he would make a great patron for warlocks. But if we did that in this format, when we got there, we should write up a game guide, however long or short, that tells you how he would use warlocks, so that you would have some guidance as a dungeon master and something to fear as a player, that if you take on Larloch as your patron, here's what he's going to make you do.
Mm-hmm. Actually, what I'll do is I'm going to talk a little bit about stuff that we're planning coming up. Actually, I know there's a couple questions. I do apologize. Just so you guys know, we're looking to see whether or not our next Forgotten Realms project will be the follow-up. The Return of Larloch Book 2. That is really determined by you guys, your interest, obviously the sales, and just whether or not that's something you'd be interested in. We we haven't heard much. Obviously, today is the first day of the book, so we don't know if you're liking the story or not. So we got to give it a little bit of time. I've mentioned.
And if you do, sorry, Wayne, if I could just mention as well too, if you do jump in and you like the book, if you could leave a rating and a review, that would also help us out too.
Yeah, just let us know. Just let us know. Ed's channels or leave a rating, leave a review. That always helps and lets us know, hey, what's going on. We have mentioned the Necromancy book, which will be led by Rhys, and I don't have too much information to tell you about that quite yet. There will be. It is. There's a lot of really interesting concepts in there. Approaches necromancy a little bit differently than how people have done in the past. It's not like a, this crazy take. It's more like there's a lot of explanations, a lot of like connect the dots on necromancy that Rhys has thought up. Ed has written a chapter on lichdom, which is quite interesting. I gave Ed a writing limit, like a word count limit, and I think I gave him too few words. Very interesting topic. So
blew that limit out of the water.
Yeah, we blew that limit out of the water and then some.
The nice thing too is that we're leaving little breadcrumbs as well in this, the Souls for the Taking, and the next one as well too. Little breadcrumbs that'll lead to that necromancy book. Yeah. So.
And we actually have another book that's going in between. That is a Forgotten Realms source book that Ed is writing, and Rhys and a couple other people are contributing on. And I'm not going to say too much about it yet. Yes, we do have an outline, and Ed is just sort of starting to touch on it right now. But obviously, with a lot of different projects, we just have to juggle that a little bit. But yeah, we do have a project. It is a source book. It is a Realm source book. It'll go on DM's Guild, obviously, because we need to. But yeah, that is another one of the projects that we are working on this year with this group of people. Obviously, with the company, we're working on a couple different things, and it's funny because at GameholeCon, both Ed and Rhys started working on another property. Which we can't talk about quite yet, but I will say that I will be charging Rhys and Ed 5 cents for the introduction, so that I can say, the number of times I've introduced somebody to this so and so company, and if I had a nickel for every time, I could say that I have charged them a nickel for it, and actually do that. But that is something interesting. We actually did talk to that company. Was it Monday? Did we meet on Monday? Did we guys meet?
Yes.
Yeah, Monday. Yeah, I forgot. On Monday, and we had a call with the editor. Just happens, and we got some information. But yeah, some information there. It'll be interesting.
Lots of great content coming for the Realms.
Yeah.
For D&D.
Yeah.
For other
franchises. Yeah.
For other franchises, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a visionary. We do have an announcement coming on Tuesday. Not from us. Well, we have to do a follow-up announcement, but there's an announcement coming on Tuesday. I literally just found out today that the announcement's coming on Tuesday. So something to watch out for. Can't say anything yet. I'm just going to give you guys some hints. But yeah. That's pretty much it. We've gone a little bit over time. If you go back to the very beginning, if you weren't here, and go back to the very beginning and listen, you can hear some of the random jokes as we try to set up. And again, I do apologize. It was supposed to be everybody, in the room today, here doing all this stuff, but unfortunately, with the snow, it just was not possible to get everybody in. But yeah, if you have any questions about the book, throw them into Ed's Discord, and occasionally we'll try to answer those. and obviously Ed answers lots of stuff. And if you like the book, let us know, please. Yeah. It's a kind of a first thing. I've never produced a novel. Rhys, I don't think you've written a novel before, or novella. Sorry. Ed is an old hand at this, but still, we'll always like to know what we've
But
done well.
because we had to chop stuff to make it fit. If you read this and you go, but what about this? Or what happened to so and so? Or I would have liked more on such and such. Let me know in the grotto, because we will read all of that and use it when if we're doing a sequel. We need to know what you want in the story.
Yeah.
I'm in the grotto as well too, so you can definitely ping me or all that as well too if you have any questions that are specific to
Mm.
me. I guess.
Well, this is a service industry. We
Yes.
do pay attention. Gamers and readers,
Yep.
you are our guys and
Yeah.
gals. I mean,
You're-
non-gender specific. You are the people
You're
we
the
do this
audience.
for. Yeah. So we do listen.
Yeah.
Because it has to be what floats your boat.
All right. And then with that, I think we're going to end it there. And more Bone Colossus. Okay.
All right. It's coming back.
Yeah. One of the things that we didn't get to do because we were going to do it live, we were going to give away some copies of the book. So I do have a mailing list. We'll send out a mailing list, and if you're on Ed's Patreon, I don't know if he did it yet. There's going to be a discount code if you're a patron as well, and then we might do something like that inside the grotto as well. So again, a lot of things got a little mixed up today, so we're a little bit behind on some stuff.
Yeah.
But anyways,
but
yeah.
I know how to do a sequel, Wayne.
Oh yeah,
because I remember the Merry Wives of Windsor. Remember, Queen Elizabeth said she wanted to see the fat man in love, Falstaff. So, Bone Colossus in Love. There's our sequel.
There you go. There, we've got the title for the next book already. Great, thanks very much, everyone. Alrighty, that's us signing off. Thank you so much, and we will talk to you guys soon. Thanks so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
All right.